Welcome back to another series of podcasts. This is Chandan Palwar from Grow Junction. This podcast is especially for the people who are continuously asking us for a podcast to be arranged for a marketing domain, especially for a service providing company. Yes, we do have one marketing enthusiast around us, and one could be also you watching this insightful session. Okay, so I'm very excited to welcome our today's speaker. He's yet again one of the finest marketing professional in the marketing industry, Mr. Akshansh Gupta. He have completed his MBA in marketing from IIM Shillong very recently in 2021. Prior to what he did his BTech in civil engineering from IIT Palakkad. Professionally, he worked for PharmEasy Diagnostics, trying to scale the vertical through product marketing. He have also an experience in search engine optimization, in digital marketing, content marketing, influencer marketing, social media, and analytics. Okay, so he have also completed the industry creates program by Craftshala in digital brand building and secured the rank of 17. Now let's have him on board, and the stage is all. Let the stage all yours of Mr. Akshansh. Hi, Akshansh.
Thank you, Chandan. Thanks for having me. And thanks to Grow Junction for inviting me to this podcast.
Yeah, so we would love to know about you. So the introduction that we had, I just copied it. I just looked your LinkedIn profile and got the few insights about your own personality, about your professional life from there. So now we would love to hear about you as in in a personal life and also in a professional life as well.
So, if I have to introduce myself, I feel I should touch more upon the personal aspect because you have covered more or less the things I'm doing from a career perspective. So, I come from a small town of Ujjain in Madhya Pradesh. I was there for almost 18 years. My dad is a professor in Polytechnic College, and my mom has a master's in Sanskrit literature, and she's a homemaker. I have two sisters, both of them are doctors. I come from a family which has a huge list of doctors spread across generations and specializations. So for me, doing an engineering or doing a BTech degree was mostly because of my father, because there was no one else who was doing it. And my father also did it back in the 70s. So the engineering degree is way different today. But the it was not much because I wanted to do engineering, but it was because I wanted to get into an IIT. That was pretty clear to me in the ninth standard that I wanted to get into an IIT.
Okay.
I had no clue what engineering is, but I just knew that IIT जाएंगे तो life set हो जाएगी. That was what something was told to me. So I gave 2 years of my life to that. Then I got into an IIT somehow, and when I reached there, it took me like a good 2 years to realize that, okay, this is something which is interesting, which is challenging, but I'm not the right candidate for it. I won't be able to do justice to a civil engineering job if I get into one. So that was when I decided that, okay, I want to explore options. So most of my time was going into stuff like theater. I was doing quizzing. I was organizing a lot of events. I was part of the student government, and given it, I was part of the first batch of the institute. So a lot of the things which were being set up, be it the clubs or committees, the student constitution, or how the budgeting and everything needs to work, the processes were being set up. So a lot of my time was going into all this administrative work. So I was considering two options. One was doing an MBA. The second one was what my parents wanted, that I should try probably for the UPSC. But given my 4 years at IIT, I realized that studies or like doing hard work in studies is something that I cannot do. I'm not made for that much of a rigor. So I decided that MBA is the only option left after so much of elimination. So that's when I decided to pursue an MBA. I started preparing for CAT. Side by side, I got the job of a data analyst at ZS Associates, which I later declined the offer. Okay. So I got rejected from everywhere. I applied to a lot of B schools and I was rejected from all of them. But when I almost decided that yes, I will go for my job, I don't have any admits this year, and I was looking for a flat. I had my tickets booked to go to Gurgaon where my office was. But just a few days before my train, I got the admit from IIM Shillong, and I I just like, I had no discussion with it. I just told my parents that this is something that I've received, and they said that okay, Maggie, this might be a turning point for your life. So I said okay, I'll join this. I did not give it much of a thought on. I did not do a pro and con analysis for that. I
Okay.
just went with the flow. So I joined my MBA. I came here, and actually, when I was coming here, my idea was that I want to get into operations. Why? Because a lot of people said that yes, if you're an engineer, you should try to go for ops.
Right, right.
Uh, th- yeah, so there was no like a very strong reasoning behind it, but I just thought that okay, if people are saying it should be right. So, but then soon I realized that okay, there are other things, there are other options. For a very brief period of time, I was even considering HR as an option, which is something that I can do. I had a couple of friends and seniors in HR, so I talked to them. So, but then I eventually zeroed upon marketing. It was again a lot of elimination that went into selecting marketing, because finance and consulting were two things which are really tough for me to do. So those things got eliminated.
Okay.
Ops, IT was something which I'm not good at. Technology is not my strong suit at all. So I was left with a few options. So I chose that okay, marketing is something I can do, because I've been creative ever since school. I was a literary prefect in my school. I used to write a lot of stuff. So I knew that okay, I'm creative, and that was my definition of marketing. That if you are creative, you can make a good career in marketing.
All right.
But when I reached Shillong, I realized that there are a lot of people who actually have a background in marketing, because when you have given 6 years to IIT, you just capture yourself in a shell. You're not aware of what other people do, what are the other career options. So for you, like 90% of this world is an engineer. But when you reach an MBA college, you realize that okay, people have background, people have knowledge of marketing, people have worked in marketing. The campaigns that you see on TV, the campaigns that you have take inspiration from, are actually made by someone in your classroom, or she was involved there. So that was a big reality check for me. That was when I realized that okay, I need to do a lot of stuff, because I had a very engineering heavy CV. Because whenever someone looked at the IIT tags, that the question was that why do you want to switch to marketing, or why do you want to do an MBA? You should preferably stay in an engineering field, because you have better opportunities there. So but then I decided that okay, probably there are a few things that I can do. Just like everyone else, I started doing a few courses. I did those cliched Google Analytics, Google Ads, all that, a couple of courses from HubSpot.
Yeah.
But soon I realized that I'm not learning anything.
Okay.
So there is this very famous quote in marketing. Once you get into the industry, you hear this a lot, which is the more you know about marketing, the more you know that you don't know anything about marketing. So when I did those Google Analytics, Google Ads, I thought that I know a lot compared to my classmates. So maybe I'm ready for the marketing journey that I want to get into. But
Okay.
as I started sitting for interviews, as I started reading more, I started to read this ET Brand Equity, which is a marketing newspaper. Then I started reading Neil Patel. I started reading his blogs, his podcasts. And then I started to realize that, okay, I don't know anything. The more you read, the more you know that you're not that good. So I started reading stuff, and soon I realized that reading is not enough. I actually need to do something. I need to do internships. I need to get my hands dirty before I can say that okay, I actually know something. So that
Okay.
was when I decided that I want to do internships apart from the regular SIP that we do in college. So my friends used to call me forever intern, because whenever you ask me, I was doing some or the other internship. So the first one was a content marketing internship.
Okay.
Then I did one in influencer marketing. Then there was this lady who wanted to start her range of cloud kitchens in Bangalore. So she contacted me that you can probably handle my social media for me. So that was where I got a hang of social media.
Okay.
Then on campus, I came across this Craftshala course. It was really costly. Like most courses on Udemy, Coursera cost you some 400, 500, or they just free certification.
Okay.
This thing costed me $30,000, and it
Oh.
was really costly. Uh, but it had a lot of value addition to it. It actually taught me a lot of stuff. I can say that like if I know something about marketing, almost 60 to 70% came from that course, because it gave me a direction. Plus, it gave me a lot of hands-on experience on what things need to be done.
Okay.
So that was where I learned a lot. And another big part was that influencer marketing internship that I did with an agency.
Got
So I would say that I got one of the best mentors out there. She used to manage a lot of big celebrities in her past job. And that was where I got a lot of sense of how marketing works. So how you need to look at internships and projects is that not a particular field. If I'm working in influencer marketing, doesn't mean that I'm an expert in influencer marketing, because the fundamentals of marketing remain the same. So you can apply those fundamentals to a lot of places, be it SEO, be it social media, be it ATL, BTL, anywhere.
okay.
But unfortunately, then the pandemic happened, and I worked really hard for the placements. I prepared all my answers about marketing, and I did a lot of research on the internship that I have done. I wanted to be prepared for every question, but I saw that the companies were just not there. Like, there weren't enough marketing roles, and given the pandemic, I did not want to take any risk. So what I did was I took a job in IT. Like, it was one of the first companies that came on campus. So I just applied for it. I worked equally hard for that as well. I got through. And that was when I decided to search for more opportunities off campus, because now I had the safety net. So I got an offer. I interned for a startup for 3 months. There were really good people. There were a lot of opportunities. It was the D2C space. But then again, I thought that the startup was a little young. The work was good, but it was a little young. So I thought that I should give some time to my current job, and maybe I would start liking it. So I did it for like a good 5 or 6 months, 7 months. And then I thought that, okay, I'm not made for it. Maybe I should try again,
Okay.
try to move to marketing if possible. So I started applying to different places. I talked to a few seniors who made a switch from IT to marketing, and luckily I got through. I got a few offers. PharmEasy was the best one, so I took PharmEasy, and I'm part of the diagnostics vertical. And what I do is that I handle storefront for PharmEasy diagnostics. Storefront is basically when you open the app, whatever you see, my job is to make you click what you see and then probably get orders from there. So there are different properties, different widgets, different sections within the app which you browse through. So those properties are what I handle.
Okay.
Performance of that property, look and feel, the ordering and all that. And traffic is the metric that I track. My job is basically, let's say if 100 people come to the PharmEasy app, my job is to make sure that most
Yeah, I think.
as much people as possible right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So we just lost you for, for 5 seconds maybe.
Which part?
The 5 seconds, the recent part.
Okay.
Part
So
one. Yeah.
Right now I've handled the storefront for PharmEasy diagnostics. Storefront is basically when whatever you see when you open the app, you see different sections, you see different offers. So who should see what in
Okay.
what order? So that is what I manage. I manage different property, or both on the main homepage as well as in the diagnostics homepage. And my job is to make sure that the properties are aligned in such a way so that we can maximize the orders that are coming on a daily basis.
All right.
That's my job.
I think that could not be, there could not be a better summary to an introduction for you. So I think you have led to us, a proper in a proper manner, in a sequential manner, and a more detailed introduction. So I think I was having, enumerate number of questions while you're speaking your introduction. So the very first thing that I recognized or observed in your personality is that you go on an elimination approach to
Yeah.
find a solution to a particular problem. So what's your opinion in that? Like having a clarity what to choose is a specific person, like specific a person, and one person who's not having a clarity what to choose but having a clarity what to eliminate. So what in your terms, in your eyes, is could be the better person with a better objective?
See, if you're able to decide what you want, you're the most luckiest person around. For example, I have a friend who knew at the age of 13, 14 that he wants to become an investment banker. So if you have that sort of a clarity in life, you're just lucky.
Okay.
But most people find it tough. We see a lot of people around us saying that I'm not able to find my passion. मेरे को पता नहीं है क्या करना है, clarity नहीं है. So you can be on that pursuit of discovery where you try to find out कि मुझे क्या चाहिए, but that's a long path and it's a little uncertain.
Right.
So the easiest way I have found till now is just list down the opportunities that you have, all the options, and just try to eliminate, okay, this is something that I cannot do. For example, if I have to do it for myself, when I was in BTech, I had an option of taking a job, or I had the option of going for higher studies. Then in the case of job, I had the option of a government job or a private job. And for a higher studies, I could have gone for an engineering relevant field, or I could have gone for an MBA, or maybe something which is not relevant. MBA comes out to be the only option in that way. So this way I created 4 different buckets which I can look into, and then I can eliminate things based on that. So I eliminated that, okay, a government job is a culture that I don't want to be a part of. I'm someone who's more proactive. I don't like that culture with the one I have seen in my father's job, or different people in my family are in government jobs. So I don't like that entire setup of a government job. So that got ruled out.
Yeah.
I wasn't doing good in my BTech studies, so there's no point of going for higher studies in masters again into something that I'm not good at, and I'm not even liking doing that.
I
So
think,
that way, those 2 options got ruled out.
I think I really like this strategy. I was not known about this strategy earlier. So what we generally like, I am sure about this, that the audience who are currently watching this video must also be having this approach, that what to choose as per your opinions and as per your credibility. So the thing is, we all have an outlook to choose things, choose career, choose personal preferences, as to that are based on our personality and our likings and disliking. So I'll try I'll try another 1 month. I'll plan out my few of the preferences, or I'll plan out my few of the selectability in in the elimination approach. Let's see how it works. I'll let you know.
Best of luck.
Yeah, if it works in a bad way, so I'll ask you for a refund, or for a
Definitely.
Absolutely. So you told us that you are from a civil engineering background, and then in there you realize that this thing is not, you're not a better fit for this organization or this industry. So having that clarity would definitely come once you are a part of that community. So
Yeah.
fourth, you realize that no, this is not for your thing. So once you join your MBA at IIM Shillong, and you recognized you were having a backfold in mind that you are good in operations and you must proceed in operations department, but you didn't, and you chose marketing domain as in career, as in as a department that you want to look forward. So how I'm just having a lot of confusion in this, like you must be having a proper resume based out on the engineering part. So you must be having like codes of the learning outcomes from the engineering aspect.
Yeah.
So did you find any challenge in the resume part or in the shortlist part while you were pursuing your MBA at IIM Shillong?
So if I specifically have to talk about the resume part, so when I was making the resume for the first time for my SIP, I was a little indifferent. I just put in whatever I had. I had a good number of CV points. That wasn't an issue. Like I have seen a lot of freshers struggling that they did not have any CV point. But for me, I have done enough number of projects. Being from an IIT, that is one thing that helps you a lot. That you're forced to do a lot of projects, so that helps you fill your CV very easily. So that wasn't an issue. Coming to the shortlist, I would say I got a really good number of shortlists. Starting from the first few companies itself, I got a lot of shortlists till the end. The only problem that I faced was that I wasn't prepared enough for the interviews, because I haven't seen that sort of setup. When I was in BTech, I got placed in the first company itself. ZS Associates was the first company I applied to, and I got through. So my impression was that I can make it through interviews if I try to. But in MBA, definitely the stakes are much higher. People are much more prepared when it comes to interview, and I wasn't prepared enough. But yeah, I got a decent number of shortlists. I don't have much to show relevance on my CV, but I would say that probably what I heard from people was that probably I had an IIT tag because of which I got a lot of shortlists. That could be the only reason. Matlab, my CV did not have anything that made me a relevant candidate.
All right. So you are having an IIT tag, you are having an IM tag, and now you're working, as an assistant manager at PharmEasy and under the marketing domain. So you must be the right person, for our audience to get an advice from. So what advice do you want to give to those people among the audience who are currently pursuing their MBA or any further, qualifications or degrees, and want them to get enrolled into the marketing domain ahead? So what exactly, what would you advise to those students, like what to add in the resume, what courses to pursue in their lives to get shortlisted for a marketing designation?
See, I would say don't do it for the shortlist first, because once you get a job from your placements, you move out. You would see that almost 30 to 40% and 50% in the bad years, people switch. Most people switch within the first 6 months to 1 year. So your college placement isn't that important. You can always find opportunities, better opportunities outside.
Okay.
Having said that, if you want to prepare yourself for a marketing role, be it your resume or be it your own skill set, I would say that courses won't do you any good unless it's something like a craft shala, which is very exhaustive. It gives you like workshops with a lot of marketing managers, brand managers from companies like Nestle, Godrej, HUL, all that. And it gives you live projects also. So that is a complete package. But a standalone course from, let's say, Udemy on the fundamentals of digital marketing won't do you any good. Get your hands dirty, find internships, find projects, do as many as possible. And one more thing, if possible, try to do stuff for yourself. For example, I used to have a meme page of my own.
Okay.
So that is where I used to apply everything that I knew about social media. I used to experiment with the metrics. I used to experiment with the positioning, timing. How can I engage users? How can I use different features that are provided by different platforms to engage with the audience? So
Right.
that is something which I did for myself, rather than going for a social media. Rather than, if I don't find a social media internship, I would start a social media page of my own and try to scale it up. Or if I want to learn content marketing, I went out, started writing on LinkedIn, did it for like 5 to 6 months. I was on the trending page multiple times. I started getting like tens of thousands of views and started getting noticed. And that was when I realized, okay, how does content marketing work? How does organic traffic works? If you want to, let's say, what are the other fields that you can try? Uh, if you want to, let's say, community is the new big thing. There are companies that are trying to come up with communities to engage people. If you want to learn about community management, try setting up a Facebook group of your own. When I was preparing for CAT, I got together with some of my friends, started this CAT preparation group called CAT Preparation Target 100. And within a year, we were able to scale it to like some 14-15,000 active audience. So if you are able to do that, that's the best part. Like put
Right.
personal projects on your CV. I
Right.
have a podcast of my own. That is, again, I can say that I got a job in PharmEasy purely because of my podcast. I randomly sent out a message to the CMO of PharmEasy saying that I need a job and this is the small description about me. I mentioned that I have a podcast, and the first thing he asked me before my CV was that send me the link of your podcast. So I sent him the link and I sent him my CV also. So that was when he listened to my podcast and he agreed that okay, I like it and I want to I want to offer you an interview. And I had two round of interviews, and in both the rounds, almost half of the time we were discussing about my podcast. And all the other interviews also, I interviewed for like 4 or 5 different companies, and all of them, a big chunk of the interviews were about my podcast. What are the metrics that I track? how do I engage my audience, how do I A/B test on different episodes.
Right.
So those are the things which can help you if you have personal project. Then that's the biggest plus point that you can have.
Yeah, I think it's totally right. It is far better than the resume screening part, because there are few elements, there are few, things that we cannot add into the resume part. We cannot add the,
Exactly.
this conducted podcast, or few of the skills that we do possess, but we cannot
Huh.
display it in the resume part. So
Exactly.
yeah, definitely, I think that could be the better way on how an organization or an HRs do screen the candidates as per the personality basis, right? So like you were telling us about lots of things, so what not to do, what to do, like it was having, like it was more like a practical approach, that you believe in, getting the hands dirty. There's no point in getting the degrees from Udemy regarding the marketing thing, and
Hmm.
publishing that certification onto your resume for seeking the placement path. That would help in getting the shortlist, but will not help you to excel your knowledge in the marketing domain. I somewhat agree to that. So the next thing is, what exactly the corporations expect from a marketing professional. So what expectations must PharmEasy be having from you prior joining this firm?
So it depends. It varies a lot based on what kind of a role they're looking for. For example, when they were hiring me, the idea was of a cross sell, basically how we can convert different people. So PharmEasy is mainly known for selling medicines, but diagnostics is a small part of the PharmEasy entire business.
Okay.
So their idea was that if there are 1,000 people coming to buy medicine, can we cross sell diagnostics to them? So that was one thing, the one skill that they were looking for. Do you have an experience in cross sell? And the other thing was that they were looking for someone who's good at content.
Okay.
So I checked the content box very easily. And cross sell part, I had some experience in Cognizant, which I told them, but mostly it was content.
Okay.
So you need to basically understand what the company is looking for. Mostly they tell you that, okay, this is the role and that this is the skill set that we are looking for. And then you can probably package your skills around what they're looking for. For example, a same skill set, my podcast can be sold as marketing analytics. It can be sold as content marketing or user engagement, user acquisition. It can be sold as anything that you want. So basically, you should be aware that what are the different things that your work can be linked to. So that is one expectation, which is role based. And in general, I would say if you're just like slightly creative, I wouldn't say that you have to be like a designer or an artist or something, but a slight decent amount of creativity would do. And if you're in a modern day marketing role, you should be good with numbers. You should be good at analyzing data. That's very, very important. For example, I manage a lot of properties within the PharmEasy app. So to understand how these properties are performing and how can I optimize these properties, that is very important.
Right.
So for that, you should be good at data analytics as well.
Okay.
And the other one would be, I think there's a lot of thinking involved. Like experimentation is a big part of marketing. You actually don't know what's going to work and what's not going to work. Your numbers can give you a direction. For example, if I have a property on the PharmEasy app which has 4 sections, I see that one of them is performing way better than the other 3. So I can say that if I want to increase the orders for a particular package, I can put it on the first spot. So, but that is just an observation that I have. So I'll do an experiment, and then I'll see that whether my experiment worked out or not.
All right.
So there can be experiment about different things. Like we see the 4 P's of marketing. So one is your product, what you are selling. Let's say if you are my customer, I can sell you a full body checkup of 1500, or I can sell you a preliminary checkup for like 500 rupees.
Okay.
So that is an experiment that I can run. There's pricing. I can try giving you a 400 off, or I can give you 400 cashback.
Got it.
This is a pricing experiment.
Okay.
Promotion is when, if you see a property, what is written on that property. I can say that you can book a sample collection in the next 2 hours, or I can say that you can get your sample collected today. What is working? Like up to 75% off or flat 75% off. These are different, like a promotional tactics that you can use. And
Okay.
similarly, fourth one is place. So where do you want to place these different offers or properties to see from where do you get the maximum clicks or the maximum conversion. So marketing is a lot about experimentation. You cannot reach up to something very concrete in your first attempt. If you do, it's good luck, but you need to be good at experimentation with different things.
Right. It is more like an A/B testing part that we learn in this marketing domain. Right.
Yeah.
So, I think you are right, because, having marketing is not some set of rules or regulations that one can read and implement. It is not that easy. It has to be like experimentation process, like Akshansh said. So, like knowing this particular thing, so now I think we can move ahead to the marketing challenges that you face while you do your daily roles and responsibilities at PharmEasy.
Challenges would be, for example, my role is very cross-functional.
Yeah.
When you are in a team like brand marketing, so you will only be dealing with creative folks. You'll be dealing with your content team, creative team, and a team of brand managers. So all of them are creative and they understand marketing in and out, or at least they have some sense of what marketing is. But when you are in a role like mine, which has a like a lot to do with the app, so positioning different widgets on the app, so there are product teams involved, there are tech teams involved, and then within the tech team also there is engineering, there is the app team, there is the API team, there is like a back-end team, front-end team, there is a design team. So everyone has a different perspective of things. So for example, let's say consider a very normal example of search. You come to the app, you start searching something. Now I want to show you some results. So from a product perspective, I want to show you what is most relevant. But from a marketing perspective, I want to show you something that sells the most. Okay.
Right.
So if somebody is searching for blood test, the product guy would like to show you all the different blood tests I have. But from a marketing perspective, I want to show you the blood test that sells the most. So
Right.
to bring everyone to the same page, to align everyone's interest, because everyone is tracking different metrics. If you track the, if I want to increase my metrics, somebody else's metric has to go down.
Go down.
Okay.
Has to be a balance, right?
It has to be a balance somewhere. And there are so many cross-functional teams involved. So firstly, you have to make sure that people are listening to you, people are doing the job, deadlines are being met, things are being prioritized. And then everyone should agree that, okay, this is something that we can do. Then there are stakeholders involved at multiple levels. For example, PharmEasy works with a lot of brands also. Right. So there are properties which are meant for both internal use as well as use of the brand. So there are clashes at times that you go on and use a property, you would come to know that a brand has already taken charge of that property and you have to take away your entire thing, the acquisition that you've done. In these cases, you have to align with a lot of stakeholders, both internal and external. You have to deal with stakeholders who don't understand marketing at all.
Okay.
The tech team and marketing teams have completely different language itself. Like we both might be talking about the same thing, but the words that we are using are completely different. So you have to make sure that everyone is able to understand things. Everyone is able to understand the purpose of why you are doing something. If I say that I need this design change or I need this particular product change, they would ask you that what is the reason behind it? What is the business sense behind it? So you need to explain. And then they would come up with their own challenges, which are not marketing challenges. Those are tech challenges or those are design challenges. So you have to understand them, and then you have to reach a compromise that, okay, how do I make sure that my work is also done and everyone is able to like everyone is okay with whatever is happening. So that's a lot of balancing act that you need to do, especially when you're in a role like mine.
I think, I'm finding these conversations so interesting. Like, I'm having my interest in marketing domain. So, having this, set in mind that whatever we are conversing right now is something that our interest lies in, is something that, makes us fascinates and sit for a long time to see this particular video, or for me to conduct this particular podcast for long. So I think having the interest is something that is the backbone to any work commitment. So
Definitely.
like, considering the time, considering the work commitment you are having with PharmEasy, and considering the time that we have already exceeded the time as per your commitment to this podcast. So we would like winding up this podcast very very soon. So the last but not the least question, I was just having one of the most auspicious question of this particular year for the students who are currently pursuing their MBA or pursuing their other degrees as well, who are having their placements lined up ahead for the marketing thing. So what could be the possible interview, how many interviews must be there for a specific person to get enrolled into the marketing job? And the second part is, what like, let's suppose there are 3 types of interviews that needs to be conducted for a particular potential candidate. Then what could be the most the marketing this marketing interview is the stressful interview, or it is like an easy interview?
I don't think there is a stressful or easy part to it. More, it depends completely on the candidate, on the interviewer, on the company you are interviewing for. I haven't seen a lot of stress interviews in marketing. I have seen one. I've seen one in Tata Steel. It was a really stressful interview. But apart from that, I feel that it's mostly chilled out. It's just
Okay.
basically trying to understand who you are and why do you want to do things. Do you have some clarity on what you're doing, what you're going into? Be it why do you want to do marketing, or why to a particular company, or if you have understanding of the overall marketing scenario. That's the thing. When there can be technical interviews, like most companies just limit themselves to this. They just look into your CV and your HR type of questions. So for that, just write everything down, prepare, get them reviewed, get them timed. Like they shouldn't be too long, too short.
Okay.
Get it reviewed, make a document of all your answers. That is something that you can do. But
Okay.
there can be some companies which are a little technical that can ask you some technical question. So you should be aware of basic metrics. For example, if I tell you that if there's an e-commerce company and I tell you that this is my GMV, this is my NMV, or this is like the CTR, these are the conversion rate. So you should be able to make sense out of what I'm saying. But this, like, this is the ATC. So you should be able to make sense of what these terms are. Or if you should be able to tell me that, okay, this is the bounce rate, this is the drop off, what is the cost per lead, what is the difference between like not theoretical understanding,
Okay.
but at least you should know what these metrics are and what are they used for.
Okay.
How do I make, for example, if I ask you that a particular property or a particular section of the app has a very low CTR, so are you able to identify the reasons why the CTR is low? For that, you need to know what a CTR is and what is that impacts it. So
Right.
you need to make sense of these basic things,
Okay.
just in case the company is a little technical. For example, if a company is into edtech or marketing technology, for example, a good example would be InMobi. So those kind of companies can ask you some technical questions, but so you should be prepared for that. But there's nothing too technical. Like it wouldn't be you doing some very high end calculations, but you should have some sense of what the metrics are, because even if they don't ask you in the interviews, you would be doing it in your job.
Understood. So, well, thank you so much, Akshansh, for getting on board with Grow Junction for this specific podcast. And I'm sure the viewers who are currently watching this video till the end must found this particular podcast very, very interesting. And we would, we love to know about Akshansh, the journey from Akshansh, from an IIT to an IIM now at PharmEasy. So, well, it was a great meeting you today. And thank you so much for making out time out of your busy schedule.
Thank you, Chandan. Thanks for having me. And thanks to Grow Junction. It was really nice talking to you. I'm always looking for opportunities where I can talk. I love talking. And especially when it's about sharing stuff. I have seen a lot of people doing it wrong. I have done it wrong myself when it comes to marketing. There's a lot of wrong perceptions about marketing, especially in colleges. So I feel that if I'm able to change anyone's mind, it's just a good work done.
So you told me about the opportunities that you love about. So I'm sure about more opportunities will be hitting around you regarding more like with the podcast also and more about the podcast. So, well, thank you so much for this particular podcast. Thank you.
Thank you, Chandan. Thanks for having me.